Imagine sitting on a plane, when masked men suddenly stand up, guns raised, and the entire cabin freezes in terror. Passengers cry, panic spreads, yet, in the middle of that storm, one woman sits calm. Her stillness, her courage, will change everything that happens next. What she does will leave you speechless. But before we begin this powerful story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Kindness Chronicles, because today's tale might just change the way you see courage forever. Imagine sitting on a plane, the engines humming softly as you lean back against the seat, perhaps sipping water or scrolling through your phone. Everything feels routine, almost boring, until suddenly a voice shatters the calm, loud, commanding, filled with menace. You glance up and freeze. Masked men have risen from their seats, weapons glinting under the harsh cabin lights. Gasps ripple through the passengers, some cry out, others press their children against them. A wave of panic sweeps through the cabin as the reality sets in, terrorists have seized the plane. At that moment, fear is a living thing, crawling up spines, choking throats, and breaking hearts. People whisper prayers, some can't stop shaking, and even the flight attendants, trained for emergencies, stand frozen with wide, terrified eyes. But amid the chaos, something unusual happens. One woman doesn't scream. She doesn't weep or cower. She sits still, her hands calmly resting on her lap, her breathing measured. She looks almost serene, as if she sees beyond the horror unfolding. And this woman, though she seems insignificant to the armed men storming the aisle, will change everything. Before we dive deeper into this true test of courage, remember, if stories of bravery and kindness touch your heart, like this video and subscribe to Kindness Chronicles. You don't want to miss what comes next. The hijackers bark orders in a language many don't understand, but their gestures and raised weapons make it clear, they're in control. They demand silence, demand obedience, demand fear. The pilot's voice crackles through the intercom, strained, forced by their instructions. The plane is no longer just a machine in the sky, it has become a prison, 30,000 feet above the earth. Mothers hush their children, fathers grit their teeth, young men look down to avoid drawing attention. A few brave souls glance around, their eyes darting, calculating, but the hopelessness is overpowering. Who could possibly resist men with guns, explosives, and nothing to lose? Yet, as the hours stretch and the tension suffocates, many begin to notice her, the woman in seat 14C. Her posture is steady, her face calm, her gaze neither challenging nor submissive. It is the kind of composure that unsettles the hijackers. They scream at her once, expecting her to flinch, but she only nods slowly, as though acknowledging their pain more than their authority. Something about her presence is magnetic. People around her, shaking moments earlier, begin to quiet. Children near her stop whimpering, sensing her calm like a blanket covering them. The pilot, in the cockpit, keeps his eyes on the controls, his mind racing. He thinks of his family, of the promises he made when he first wore the captain's uniform, that he would protect his passengers no matter what. But looking at the armed men, his courage falters. He feels small, powerless, forced into submission. And yet, when he looks back through the cabin door window, he notices her, the same woman who sits with unshaken calm. In that moment, he wonders, who is she? Why isn't she afraid? And why do her eyes, when they meet his across the aisle, carry something that feels like a command, a reminder not to give in? Time drags on. The terrorists pace up and down the aisle, barking threats, gripping their weapons tighter as if to show strength. But strength isn't what rules the cabin anymore, attention is shifting. Passengers who had been crying quietly now glance at the woman, taking courage from her stillness. It spreads like a silent fire, invisible but unstoppable. Even the flight attendants, trembling earlier, begin to draw breath with steadier rhythm when near her. Her calm is contagious. But make no mistake, the danger is real. One hijacker slams his fist on the seat in front of her, shouting, demanding fear. She doesn't resist, doesn't provoke, she only speaks, softly, words drowned to most, but heard by those nearest. Fear feeds them. But calm feeds us. Those words linger, bouncing silently through the rows, shared in whispers until they reach ears far from her seat. The pilot keeps replaying those words in his mind. He feels his heart beating slower, steadier, each time he looks at her. She becomes his anchor in the storm. For years, he has flown countless flights, carried thousands of souls safely, but never has he faced a test like this. And never has he needed a passenger to remind him of his duty. Something inside him stirs, an ember of courage reignited. If she can remain calm, so can he. If she can inspire strength without a weapon, maybe he can, too. The terrorists begin to argue among themselves. Their plan is complicated, their demands unclear. One wants to divert the plane immediately, another insists on waiting for fuel. Their disunity grows visible, and the woman sees it. While others see danger, she sees opportunity. She doesn't rise, doesn't fight, but her silence sharpens their cracks. Every time they glance at her, she is unmoved, like a mirror reflecting their own inner turmoil. The passengers notice this too, the men with guns are shaken, but the woman with nothing is unshaken. And that reversal begins to shift the entire energy of the cabin. Hours stretch like days. The air is heavy, recycled through frightened lungs. The plane hums steadily, indifferent to the battle of wills inside. And in that floating cage, courage begins to spread. It starts small, a young boy whispers to his mother, "We'll be okay," words he would never have dared earlier. A businessman who had been sweating and clutching his briefcase now loosens his tie and exhales. A flight attendant, with shaking hands, offers water to the nearest passenger without fear of being punished. The hijackers notice, and it unnerves them. Their threats grow louder, their pacing more frantic, their commands sharper. Yet the calmer the passengers grow, the less powerful the terrorists feel. The pilot grips the controls, listening to every word exchanged behind him. His fear has not vanished, but it has transformed. It has become responsibility, sharpened focus, a quiet vow forming in his chest. He recalls the woman's steady gaze, her whispered wisdom spreading through the cabin. He feels that this is no longer just about survival, it is about protecting the humanity on board. The hijackers may hold weapons, but they do not hold the soul of this flight anymore. That belongs to the people, bound together by calm and courage. And as the chapter closes, the scene inside that aircraft is no longer pure terror. Yes, the hijackers still pace with their weapons. Yes, the future is uncertain. But something has shifted. One woman, by refusing to surrender her calm, has planted seeds of resistance, seeds that will grow in ways the armed men could never predict. The pilot feels it too. A decision is forming in him, one that may change everything. What happens next will test them all, but hope has already taken flight. The standoff stretched, but the woman's calm never broke. Her courage spread through the cabin like light in darkness. The pilot, inspired by her steady presence, found the strength to act. With quiet signals from the crew and the unity of the passengers, the hijackers were finally overpowered. Fear had lost its grip. Later, when the plane landed safely, people spoke not of weapons, but of one woman's calm that saved them all. Remember, sometimes kindness and courage are the greatest weapons. If this story touched your heart, like this video and subscribe to Kindness Chronicles for more inspiring stories.